Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai Bashem, Wakar Kadash, double honors to the elders, apostles, great millstone, preaching his word truthfully and sincerely, and shalom to the Akim, scattered through the four corners of the globe, preaching his word truthfully and sincerely, and shalom to the Akim, that be like unto a speckled bird, preaching his word truthfully and sincerely. And I say shalom to your Akim out there, and this is another quick sit-down lesson on this April the 5th, 2022, on this Tuesday afternoon. And this is another news article in the news on this April 5th, 2022. And this is most recently as well, too, in regards to the nations rise against nations. And this is a news article from English, ALARABY.co.uk. First time news article I was hearing about as well too. This is from the new Arab article right here. The news media outlet website right here. First time hearing about it. And this is a world news article. And the highlight of this news article, and it reads, the main Malian army forces, Russian mercenaries killed at least 300 civilians in a Mali town siege, HRW. It says the killings took place between March 27th and March 31st in the rural town, around 10,000 inhabitants in the MOPTI region, a hotspot of extremist activity that has intensified and spread to neighboring countries in the Sahel region. The West African country army on Tuesday denying the allegations. So that's why, this is a rumor. This war is a rumor of wars. That's why you hear news articles that relates to rumors of wars, and then it might be just a rumor, and then some of the rumors of wars are becoming reality as well too. As escalations, tensions increase in the last days in regards to, the nations rise against nations and the kingdom against kingdoms as well too. Continuing on with the reading of the news article, the Malian troops and suspected Russian fighters allegedly executed around 300 civilian men over 5 days during a military operation in central Mali town. Human Rights Watch, HRWC, said in a report on Tuesday, which the country armies refute. The killings took place between March 27th and March 31st of 2022 in a rural town around the 10,000 inhabitants in the Mopti region, a hotspot of extremists that has been intensifying and spreading through the neighboring countries in the Sahel region. The incident is the worst single atrocity reported in the Mali's decade-long armed conflict. The HRWC, I meant to say Slovakia. Let me rephrase that. The HRW said. It says the reporting execution sparked condemnation from the United States, the Europe Union, France, and Germany, who also called on the Malian government to allow further independent investigation. And it says the West African countries' armies on Tuesday denied the allegations, said it has conducted a professional, well-executed operation immoral to target Islamic militants, and previous said it has killed more than 200 after learning that would be meeting there. The total control of the local tide allow for searching identifying and sorting out terrorists disguised and concealed among the civilian population, the Army said in a statement. After a gunfight, it said the Army used the helicopter to pursue and neutralize militants who were trying to flee. Suspects in the town when they arrested and flown out to face trial, said. It says the witness told HRW a different story. 19 witnesses told the rights group the Malian and Russian-speaking soldiers arrived by helicopter, exchanging 2 rounds of gunfire with Islamic fighters. During the rebel soldiers and a few civilians were killed. The troops then deployed through the town, similarly executing several men, then gathered hundreds of other uh, unarmed people from their homes and took them to the bank of a nearby river. Witness told. It says many were traders from surrounding villages who came to attend the town's weekly livestock market. Some of those groups were infiltrated by militants, the witness told our HRW. The men were held for 5 days under the sun in an laboratory selected for execution by gunfire. The night bodies were piled into the mass grave, HRW said. The operation allegedly over 100 Russian-speaking men, according to the multiple security sources who spoke to HRW. Several witnesses also described white soldiers speaking an unfamiliar foreign language that they believed to be Russian. It says one trader said he was drinking tea with his 2 brothers while waiting for the market to start when he heard shooting. Several Russian several Russians approached, gestured for us to get up. Then there was no Malian soldier with them. They were searching and in the house and then took us east of the village near the river where we found another 100 men, he told HRW. Another group of Russian men pointed at my brother and another man, although they were ongoing for interrogation. They took uh, they took several mercenaries away and executed them point blank, he said. Reuters was unable to independently confirm the witness accounts cited by HRW. It says Mali's traditional government, which took power in 2020, military coup, is battling the insurgents with the help of private military contractors belonging to Russia's Wagner Group. Both Mali and Russia has previously said they are not mercenaries but trainers, help local troops and equipment brought from Russia. And it says a French Mali president, former colonizer, has held thousands of troops battling militant in the country for nearly a decade, but said early this year it was pointing out every relations de- deteriorating, a part due to the arrival of the Russian soldiers. It says a French-led mission of 14 mainly European nations with 600 to 900 soldiers in Mali is also winding up. Right, so that goes into the nations to rise against nations. You know, Slovakia, and then go back to that news article. Oh, there it goes. Yeah, so after was reading through this whole article, you have Malian troops over there in the west coast of Africa in those villages. They was doing operation was led between May the 27th and May the 31st, which was last month, a few days ago, not that long ago. The Mali armed forces and Russian mercenary soldiers was recently deported there for a while. So that goes into these nations rise against nations. Because the Mali soldiers and the local Mali soldiers and these Russian mercenaries, they took out a lot of people because I believe they was fighting against the Islamic State Republic groups that was terrorists and it was infiltrated with the villages and stuff like that. And then they went to an area, I believe they was helping the hostages, you know. Oh shit. Oh, Salaki. I'm tweaking. Yeah, so this, it goes into the Slovakia for my language. But yeah, back to what I was saying, you had the Mali troops over there along with the Russian mercenaries. They was doing operations between March the 27th through March the 31st. They was killing a lot of people, and it was estimated. At first, it was 200 Islamic soldiers that they killed. What infiltrated the areas over there in the villages where they tried to take over, and then they did a long military operation for the next couple of days from March 27th to March 31st, like I mentioned before, and this what you call of increase the wars and rumors of wars, This is Mark chapter 13, verse 7. And ye shall hear wars and rumors of wars, as like I just mentioned, the increase of these nations going against one another. These wars, increasing of wars and rumors of wars, which is a rumor, and the rumors of wars increasingly being a reality of these wars and rumors of wars. Be not troubled for such things must need me, but the end is not yet. And I'm bring out Joel 3 and 9. Proclaim thee this amongst the Gentiles, prepare war. That's what we are seeing right now in all different parts around the world, with the current situation over there in Ukraine, in Russia, with the over there with the South China Sea, and then North Korea and South Korea taking shots at one another, you know. And then you got the Israeli-Palestine situation going on. A lot of violence been spreading over there in that region. So it's a lot of things been going on which is warlike related, And that goes into the nations rise against nations and the kingdom against kingdoms as we are seeing that, And I'm gonna bring out the book of Joel 3 and 9. 3 verse 9. I'm gonna bring it out again for edification's sake. Proclaim thee this among the Gentile, which is the other nations, the Gentile nations outside of the nation of Israel. Proclaim this amongst the Gentiles, prepare war. Wake up the mighty man, which is these other nations. And that scripture goes back into the let the weak say I am strong, as you starting to see that with these nations doing their military joint exercise drills from last year until now in the year 2022. These missile launches of North Korea doing their ICBM nuclear missile launches since 2017. This is the first time in a while they did that. And then United States, they doing their second military hypersonic missile testing, to counter China with their nuclear military arsenal as well too. Then North Korea, they did their missile launch, along with Iran and Russia and many other countries as well too. That's why, we're getting to those stages of, World War III is imminent, and we're seeing signs of that, and it's going to further increase. Like I mentioned before in my previous videos, and relates to this war type tactics that's going on with these different nations going against one another. It might have like momentarily calm and peace and ceasefires and all that, but it's going to come time again, once again, it's going to increase the tensions against these different nations. That's why I brought out the book of Joel 3 and 9. It says, proclaim thee this amongst the Gentiles. Prepare war, wake up the mighty man. Let all the man war draw near, right? Because that's let all the man draw war near, And it's going to get closer to the battle of Valley of Jehoshaphat, Yahweh Shaphat. Valley of decision, valley of judgment, over there in the Middle East, when all these nations come together going against one another, and they gonna see those chariot sightings. They're gonna fight against the Most High Son, which is Yahweh Shai, and the chariots of Israel, because it's gonna get to that time, because we're seeing signs of steps of that, it's gonna get to that point, it's gonna get close to that very soon. Okay, let's probably bring out one more scripture, then close it out. And this is the book of Luke, chapter 21, verse 9. But when ye shall hear Salakia, but when ye shall hear of wars and commotions, be not terrified, for these things must first come to pass, but the end is nigh. But the end is not by and by, right? Because we are seeing these increase, of the wars and rumors of wars. The nations shall rise against nations, and kingdom against kingdoms, increasingly in the latter days. Because like the scripture says in the book of 2 Timothy 3 and 1, in the latter days there shall be perilous times. A roughly paraphrase of that scripture. And and these are the beginning of sorrows, because we are living in those stages of beginning of sorrows, with all these biblical prophecies taking around the world. These global major events, which biblical prophecies, which we are currently living in right now. And it's going to further increase in these last days, because we are living in biblical prophecy times. So with that, that's all I wanted to bring out for this quick sit-down lesson, and relates to this news article that I just brought out, which you really not gonna see or hear in the news, because there's so much focusing on this Russia-Ukraine situation, but you got other wars that's going on around the world as well too. With the like I mentioned before, with the increases of nations shall rise against nations, and the kingdom against kingdoms. There should be upwars of the people, and we're seeing that right now. As it take place and unfold in these last days and these current times that we are living in. So with that, I hope this quick sit-down lesson was edifying through the spirit, power, grace, and mercy of Yahweh Yahushua. And first and foremost, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem, Rakar Kadash. Double honors to the elders, apostles, great millstone, preaching his word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim, scattered through the four corners of the globe, preaching his word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim, scattered through the four corners of the globe, preaching his word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim, that be like unto the speckled bird, preaching his word truthfully and sincerely. And until next time, I will say shalom and the ball.